So, The Harder They Fall, it was directed by James Samuels, and it stars a whole bunch of people, including Jonathan Majors, Idris Elba, Regina King, Lakeith Stanfield, Zazie Beetz, Delroy Lindo, and it's about an outlaw played by Jonathan Majors, who finds out that the man who killed his father, played by Idris Elba, is back and has been released from prison, and now he has to wrangle a bunch of his old pals in order to basically get revenge on him once and for all. So this was a movie that, admittedly, at first I was not looking forward to. I'm not really too big into Westerns, even though the cast sounded really good, and I really like most of those actors. I was not interested in this movie because I'm not really too big of a fan of Westerns in general, and I feel like a lot of people aren't. But then the trailers came out, and I thought the trailers were just incredible. I thought it looked like a lot of fun. I thought it was like, okay, this is going to be a different type of Western movie, kind of more along the lines of like some of the stuff that Tarantino has done in the last few years. So I eventually watched this, and overall, I did really enjoy this movie. I do have some issues, but overall, I think this movie's a lot of fun. So let's start with the stuff I do like. The performances are really good. Pretty much everyone in this movie is really good. I like Jonathan Majors. I like Zazie Beetz. R.J. Seiler was pretty cool. Danielle Deadweiler, I believe that's how you pronounce her name. I thought her performance was really good too. Regina King, she's kind of a villain in this movie. I thought she was really good. Lakeith Stanfield was really good. Saying all these actors are really good is just it's getting annoying, but you know what? All of them are really good in their own way. I thought they brought a lot of dynamic to their character, and I thought they all worked really well together. It looked like they were all having a good time, and they were really good in this movie. Also, the music in this movie is really well done as well. The score, which was also done by James Samuels, the score was good, and the movie has a lot of there's a soundtrack to this movie, and you may think it doesn't work, but the music actually does work, and I thought it was really well done. I guess Jay-Z was really involved with this movie, so that's interesting. And honestly, this movie is very fun. It's also very funny, too. Like, there are moments where I'm actually kind of laughing because some of the dialogue they're saying is just really funny, and I'm really glad that this movie is very fun, and it's just very funny, and it's honestly kind of a fun Western, even though I'm not a big fan of Westerns, I feel like it's kind of boring and just kind of slow, very slow. This one, it's very fun. It's very enjoyable. The characters are likable, and the performances are really good. And it's a blast. It's a real blast. And they say at the beginning of this movie that even though this story didn't happen, these people did exist. So it kind of makes me interested to look up information about the people that were in this movie, like how they actually were in real life. See how much of that actually was on the screen, because usually I'm a big stickler about that, and it's like, okay, so this movie's kind of based on true events, and so it's like if I see a movie where they claim that, and I look up information that didn't actually happen, but it was in the movie, I kind of have to call it out. But I'm going to let it slide for this movie because it kind of reminds me a lot of Tarantino stuff, and Tarantino embellished a lot of things from history, but you know what? I don't care. This movie was a lot of fun. And that kind of leads into, let's go into the stuff I kind of didn't care for. This movie's a little bit too long. This movie's like 2 hours and 20 minutes. It could have been shorter by 15, 20 minutes maybe. Kind of would have gotten the same gist of it. But I feel like if it was just shorter, it would have been perfect. Also, I mentioned that I'm not really a big fan of Westerns. There are slow moments. And unfortunately, there are a couple slow moments in this movie that kind of just drag a bit. I would have tightened this a lot more. And even though I do enjoy most of these performances, the two ones that are kind of the weakest link, unfortunately, are Delroy Lindo, because I didn't think it was in the movie that much, and also Idris Elba. That was kind of disappointing, because in the opening scene, he's really good. And throughout the rest of the movie, he's just fine. I just felt like after that one scene, his performance is just not nearly as strong. There wasn't as much energy as it was in that scene. So that was kind of a letdown. But overall, The Harder They Fall it's a fun time. The performances are really good. The music is great. The dialogue is great. I was laughing. It's very fun. It's very fun. It's funny. And, it's actually, it made me want to look up history about, these people. But even though I do complain about, it's a little too long and could have tightened a bunch of scenes and a couple of performances, I would still recommend this. I'll give The Harder They Fall 3 out of 4 stars. See it. So, what did you think of The Harder They Fall? And also, what's your favorite Western movie? We don't really get too many of them these days. I'm not too surprised, unfortunately. So what's your favorite Western? Comment down below, subscribe to the channel. This is Pat, and stay safe.